Stories matter, and every story matters. As a broadcast journalist, it is very important for all media organizations, whether the traditional ones or the digital ones, to ensure that they allow people to tell their stories. It is very key and important. Now, it was the American music scholar, Marconex, who said that the media is the most powerful entity on the surface of the earth. In his words, he said, they can make the innocent guilty and the guilty innocent. And that is power, because they control the minds of the people. It is very, very true. The media is very powerful. If you contextualize that particular position of Marconex, if you fit that position into even the Nigerian setting, when a criminal is being arrested, the media, the journalists, they go to interview the criminal. I mean, at that particular point in time, the person is not a criminal yet. The person is a suspect. But the journalists begin to interrogate the person, ask questions. And before you know it, they publish whatever, the interview is all about. And people begin to actually draw out their positions, form their opinions about the person. This person is a suspect. But at times, the way the media will present it to you, the person has already been indicted. That is why in Nigeria, we have a lot of media trials. A politician has been arrested. The FCC will make a lot of noise. The media will cover it. At the end of the day, the court will set free the criminal. That's to tell you that the way and manner we do our job as journalists, matters. And the way and manner journalists put out their stories there can actually influence what people think about their stories. What Marconex said about the media is also the same thing as the position of some media scholars who said the media can actually confer status on people. The media confers status on people, in case you do not know. Now, let me give you some examples. What this thing is all about, the status conferral power of the media, is that the media will make you to see somebody in a negative way, and will make you to see another person in a very positive way. That is status conferral. What they do is that the media legitimizes the status. They can legitimize the status of people, of individuals, of brands, of institutions. Let me give you an example. When you talk about status conferral, the media loves some people and they listen to them. They give them a lot of favorable mentions. For instance, in Nigeria, somebody like Femi Fani-Kayode, when you look at him, what do you know about Femi Fani-Kayode? What do you know him as? Can you identify his profession? Can you? Okay, now, because the media loves Femi Fani-Kayode, you have him everywhere in the media. It's given a lot of favorable media mentions. And because of that, in this very country, he was special advisor on public affairs to former President Olusegun Obasanjo. He was Minister of Aviation in this country. Apart from that, he was also, in the tourism ministry, because he was able to enjoy that favorable mentions from the media, and that placed him to be a celebrity. So when you are looking for somebody who you think can actually sell your party or sell your position to the public, you want to think of Femi Fani-Kayode, because you know that he's very good at what he does. Now, if you also look at Kim Kardashian, that's a very good example. Kim Kardashian of the Kardashian dynasty. What can you say made her to actually achieve that prominence that she has? Fine. She's a businesswoman today, right? But before she went into business, what was the first thing that you knew about her? Sex tape. Now, some people have asked questions. How did she earn her place in the world of celebrities? Did she work for it? No. Before she became famous, it was because of that sex tape. That was how we got to know her. I mean, it wasn't like, okay, she did a business, or maybe she was a business mogul, or she did something. The media kept giving her favorable mentions. And at the end of the day, she became what? A celebrity. That is how the media can confer status on people. That is why you see a politician who has stolen money. Because of what you've read about that person, you see the person as a good person. You see another politician who has stolen money, but you see that person as a good person. Because the media has presented to you that this person is a good person, though he's a thief, but he's a good thief. Oh, this one is a thief as well. No, he's a thief, but he's a what? A bad thief. That is, the media conferring status on what? On people. Now, another key point, talking about the power of the media as well. There is something in the media profession that we call agenda setting. Because the media controls your mind, the media set agenda for you. The myth of the agenda setting theory is that the media does not tell you what to think, but the media tells you what to think about. Do you agree with that? The media does not tell you what to think, but the media tells you what to think about. The media will not tell you this is what you should think. But you know what? When you look at the attention that the media, gives a particular story. Amen. Let me give an example so that you get this thing I'm talking about very clearly. There are so many things happening in Nigeria. There are millions of stories in Nigeria that you can actually read. But why is it that you find one very interesting? Why is it that you talk about one? Why not all those other stories? Why? It's because of the prominence that the media has given to the what? To the story. So they will not come and tell you this is what you should think. But when you look at the attention they give a particular story, this story is very what? Very important. Now, let me give you an example. If all the media houses in Osun, if they're talking about one issue, you are likely to think of that issue alone and not another what? Another thing. That is how powerful the media is. Now, in all of this, the job of the journalist is to become a custodian of public truth. Amen. Because the moment you lose that truth, the moment people no longer see you as that truthful person, then that is the end of your what? The end of your career. Now, looking at this, in the media world, I can categorize some stories into the big stories and the what? The small stories. Every journalist will want to cover big stories. What are those big stories? You want to cover stories that will rupture the system. You cover stories that will expose a politician stealing money. You want to expose corruption, in big corporations. Those are the stories we like to cover because those stories will give us awards. Apart from awards, they also bring commercial success to our what? To our organization. People will get to know us. But why are we not covering those small stories? Small stories of the issue of female genital mutilation. Is it not existing? Why are we not covering it? Why are we not talking about, the rising cases of, prostitutes on the street of Osogbo, especially around that riverside area in the evening? Why are we not talking about it? Why are we not talking about increasing in number of, thugs on the street of Osogbo? Why are we not talking about it? Are those stories not important? Why are we not talking about communities in Osho who don't have water, who have to walk long distances to get water every day? Why are we not talking about it? Now, big stories matter because they are real societal happenings. But small stories, they also matter too. Big stories are in the big cities, but small stories, they are the rural areas. So nobody's really interested. I mean, who cares about what is happening in Akumu? There's a particular community in Niger State. The community didn't have light for 100 years. 100 years. They were just connected to the national grid in 2012, around April. I mean, why are we not talking about these stories? Now, let me take you to this, which is very key and important. Today, we have, professional journalists, and we also have citizen journalists. You are all citizen journalists. Is that not true? Now, when last did you use your social media handle to post problems about your communities? When last did you do that? If you're not talking about, if you're not talking about BBN on Twitter, if you're not abusing people on Twitter, if you're not encouraging violence on Twitter, what are you using it to do? Let me give you an example. Osun has a population of more than 4 million people. Now, the issue of, the illegal mining going on in Ilesha, imagine out of 4 million people. Let's say we have about 1 million people, 500 million people tweeting about that on Twitter. What do you think we're going to have? What are we going to have? You can imagine the level of prominence that we're going to have. Imagine other issues that are affecting us in Osun. Let's just say 100,000 people in Osun State, are tweeting about it. We can use that platform to call attention, of government, of people that matter to all the stories. So we need to begin to tell these stories. These stories are key and very important. I understand the fact that we want to live in the big cities. We have big stories in the big cities. But let me tell you, majority of Nigerians, they are living in rural areas. They are the silent majority. And their voices need to be heard. We need to give them, those voices. And that is where we as professional journalists and also as seasoned journalists that you are, you must begin to use your social media handles, the platforms that you have to promote all these small stories. so that they come to the attention of those who matter. Because these stories, they really matter. Now, the power, what you have in your hand is a big power. I mean, that smartphone that you have, that social media accounts that you have, if you use those accounts to propagate some of these gospels, I'm telling you, I mean, we'll be having solutions. Just recently, they talked about a particular school in Ogun State, a dilapidated structure. It was on social media. Everywhere was on fire. The governor had to act because the people what? The people acted. What are we using our time to do? I mean, the same way we promote BB on Twitter, the same way we promote things that do not matter on Twitter, can we also start doing the same thing to these big stories? When we do that, we get solutions that we need. And if you think the media does not matter, the media matters. You are a citizen journalist. I am a professional journalist because I was trained for it. You might just pick any story and just post it. But both as citizen journalists and as professional journalists, we need to do something about it. If the media does not matter, why is it that you have groups, you have organizations, you have religious bodies owning media houses? Why? Churches have media houses. Do you think they just want to have that? Everybody is trying to control the information space. And that is why there is that proliferation of media houses, as you see it. Churches, mosques, communities, individuals, groups, they own media houses. All these outlets, let us use them to promote all these big stories. Stories that talk about our development, stories about rural areas, stories that will lead to development, stories that will make people happy, stories, about children. I mean, on the street of Osogbo now, when you park your car, you are likely to see some children walking up to you to say, please give me some money. It should not be. They should not be on that particular street. They should be in school. Can we use our platforms as citizen journalists and professional journalists to call the attention of government to this? Can we promote these stories? Can we leave those things that do not matter to those things that really matter? So every story matters. The big stories, the small stories. We must tell them because every story matters. Thank you.